Okay, we will, hold on 1 second here. Let's get our, let's see if I can get this right. One second. Okay, and let's get, I think this is it. I'll pop this on YouTube. Okay, so good morning guys. Mic check, video check, are we good? Oh, I probably have to do the same, my bad. Yeah, that's probably normal. Yep. Let me change my other chart. Let's see. Footprint. Chart settings. Data loading symbol. Okay, there we go. Reload, recalculate, reload, recalculate. We should match, right, Tasia? Randy, we match on the charts, or pretty close? Good morning, Joyce. Okay. A little bit of coffee. Cool, great. I wanted to show y'all something here. I thought it was great. I posted on my Twitter stream. Here, I'll actually just post it into the general room. Let's see if we can find it. It's called the Luck Razor. Let's see. I don't understand why it won't. There we go. Got it. Here we go. It's a pretty simple concept, but it fits it really nicely. So let's see here. So it says when choosing between two paths, choose the path that has the largest luck surface area, right? So for me, this would be shorts. This is longs, right? And the reason for that is if you look at the chart over multiple months, like I posted this morning over here. Let me go back. let's see if I have this. Ah, here we go. So just look at this over time, right? So this is going back to March of this year. Were there dips? Were there strong moves down? There were. But look, if you kept going long versus you kept going short, like the numbers just worked out for you to the long side, right? It doesn't mean there weren't good shorts in there. It doesn't mean that weren't days where we closed on the low. But just look at the repeated pounding. You look at the extended periods of time, both March through July, and then again where you went through late September, October through now, where it just kept grinding higher. Right now, if you look at the brief periods of time where there were shorts, so I always say this, you can short for brief periods of time, but the problem is by the time you get over here where it gets easy to short, you're almost certainly addicted to it and you're not looking for the long side trade. And that's the only problem I have with the short, is that if you look over years and years of this trade, that's exactly how that works over time. Here, we don't need this anymore. And we'll move this over. Next, I am hearing from people consistency, really good consistency day in, day out. You don't have to make your day in one day, right? I'm going to say that again. You don't have to make your day in one day. By the way, the reason this is not up on the screen, here I'll show you. The reason this is not on the screen is because I figured out on YouTube how to get it to select more than one window. I have not figured out how to do that on Zoom where I can add a window, but you can see there's been no trading. We're right where we left off on Friday morning at 152.53 on that new account, right? So we'll just keep hammering away at that. Okay, so the next thing, I introduced a trade called the Las Vegas trade. Why is it the Las Vegas trade? Because the stop is massive on it, right? I've been playing with it. 50 keeps you in most, 100 keeps you in almost all, and no stop keeps you in almost all. So why would I do this, right? Why would I go back in and do this trade when it's the opposite of what I've been preaching for a long, long time? Is a valid question, I would think, right? And so I can give the valid answer to the valid question. There are some people who get frustrated. So I'm going to give you an example, right? Let's say, let me go find the chart where it would work. Let's see. Here, I'm going to mess up this chart for a second because I'm going to add some days for the example, then I'll put it back. Okay, so I'm going to give the example, and I think it was last week where I got stopped out. It ended up being a trend day up, but I got stopped out right in here. It was on the 7th. Okay, and this is where I started shorting, right over here, right here, and right here, and I was getting stopped out, right? So, and I apologize, I lost my train of thought. So Ronnie was asking, like, why are you shorting over and over up here? So it's just grinding and it's hard. But let's say I was convicted, right? Let's say I came up and I looked at this chart and I go, look, when we get behind here, we should, take out stops and run back down. That's a normal piece of our trading, right? However, and you can see the shift, by the way, in the value of the contracts. Hold on, let me clear this chart really quick. Where's my other chart? Minimize this, and then let's see over here. Well, that didn't take care of it. It's coming from some other chart, and I need to make chart settings. Okay, we're all fine. F5, data limiting. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so so my response to that is this. Had I shorted here, which I did originally, and if you remember, I took a stop because I couldn't get the extension, right? So I had a good reason for shorting there. It wasn't, and it was on process, right? I came in over here and I said, well, if I get the point of control behind this guy, it's short. Okay, so normally our stop let's just say, so I don't have to go through the whole multitude. Let's say I shorted here with a 15-point stop. So that would be, or 16, 94, 04, 10, oh wait, 94, 04, 9, 10. So my stop would be roughly there. Okay. Now, in this case, I would have taken one stop, two stops before finally getting the roll. So the stop that I actually needed in this case would have been from 94 to 21, which is 28 points worth of stop, right? So then I had a conversation with one of the team members, and they said, hey, look, there's some days when I just know the bid is getting hit, or I know the ask is getting hit, and we're just going higher. But I'm getting frustrated because I might get caught in a chop area, or I might take the trade, or I was kind of frozen. I didn't know how to take the trade. So here's the answer to that question, right? We're always playing with two boxes, right? In one box, we have extreme accuracy, a lot of leverage for a move, and we make a lot of money when we get that move. I like that model, right? But there's another model here that says, hey, when I get over here, I'm pretty damn sure once I get this that we're rolling back. And let's say you have a moderate target, right? Let's say you just use your tools. We're either going to get back over here, or we're going to come back to here. Okay? Either way, that's a great target to the downside, right? But what happens? Well, if I take the trade in this particular case, I take two stops. Now, I did the right thing here. I remember very clearly. I reduced the size of my trade, but I still ended up with two stops. And on that day, I ended up minus 327 for the day, and I needed this trade over here. And what I did was I kind of screwed myself up. I took two stops over here, a little frustrated when I didn't get this roll down here. And then when I took this trade, I got anxious and kicked it out, remember? So I ended up minus 327 on the day when I should have been very profitable. Okay, now if you take all these trades, and let's say you just put a 50-point stop in on the trade, right? That's $1,000, one contract. You got your one-to-one on both of these, but you don't need the one-to-one. You're going to get the extension because the algo is really telling you where people are getting trapped, right? So if you put a little location and a little intuition into your trading, right? This is where that Las Vegas trade will pay off. What you can't do on that trade is once I'm going to put 3 contracts on an Apex trade that has a account that has a $5,000 stop. So where do you do this? What is the solution? Well, there's one solution. You have a very large account, and you get very good at putting one contract on at the right area with a large stop on process, and then you let the thing work itself out. You go, I know I'm generally in the right area. I'm in single prints. I'm in a key support level, something to that extent. I have a strong signal that tells me to go long, right? I'm going to show you another area where this works out. So here, like this, just a few days earlier. So let's say you go, this is after hours. After hours, I want to find the stop. Want to find where it works in reverse. We've been lifting so strongly lately that it's hard to find a consolidation. Okay, here we go. Let's say you're at 940 and you go long here. You're like, okay, that was my move to here. I'm going to show you the chart. This is my move to the downside. We're on a big stretch. As a matter of fact, I remember this day. This was the day we were down 300 points, right? Actually, Ronnie came back again and said, Simon, why are you pressing the trade so hard here? So I'm going to give you 2 examples. Let's say I'm over here, and I go, you know what? We just took out the swing. I had the push down at the low, and actually let's do it over here. And I'm going to take the long, so this is the push down at the 4th channel, so I'm going to take the long here, right? And I'm thinking there's a reverse. So let's say I can't read that it's open drive lower, which you would have had to be pretty blind not to tell, but let's say you can't tell that it's open drive lower, right? So I end up going long at 56. Now our current stop says that our stop would be at 40, which is just below here. See how you just get nicked out? Now, if I put my stop at 50 points, which is 06, is that right? 56.06. So about right down here, right? Now, I could end up getting stopped out and burning $1,000, right? But what that does is it keeps me from getting stopped out over here. I go, that was the setup I was looking for at the fourth channel. Let's say it's an unfair pricing, and I'm either going to lose $1,000 or get the extension. Now, as it was, the best this would have done for you would have been 56 to 82. That's the best you would have done. Not a great trade, right? But it would have let you survive without taking stop and then having to re-enter and going through that whole process. Now, what you could not do is load the boat out of it. And as you know, I like to load the boat out of the trades, right? So I'll be running both sides of this trade. What I do is I go, okay, I think it's long. I'm putting one contract on. I'm looking for my setup, but I'm not coming out of the trade. I won't do that in this Apex account. This Apex account we run as normal, right? 16-point stops, entry, just like I run my normal trade. But I bought another account. I don't have it up there yet. I'll have it up by tomorrow once I figure out how to put all the pieces and change the fonts. It's too small to see on YouTube, but it's there. You'll see when I'm in a trade. And I will run it from that perspective. The thought process has to be like this, and actually this would be the thought process. Where you want this is when you're in open drive lower, but see where this entry comes in right here? Let's say you're open drive lower and you're convinced we're going lower. And you come here and you go, you know what? If we clear this, we're going down, right? But what you don't know is if it'll come back up and make one more high. You never know that, right? That's the problem with shorting in particular, is it comes back against you, right? So this is for trades where you think you have a bigger extension coming, a larger run rate. And what I would do with this very specifically, I want to reiterate this. I would run this in either a top step account or an Apex account. Okay, I would run it with one contract, and the goal is to make $400 to $1,000 a day with this trade. Okay, so let me see if anyone in the team has any questions about it. It is for a specific reasoning, and there's some people in the room that feel like they have the read on. I agree with it 100%, but there's some people in the room who look at the market and they go, I know we're going lower, I know we're going higher. They're entering on process, and the stop outs are just taking them out, particularly in NQ, right? So two things about this, guys, right? They're important. This is a thought experiment. I thought it through, and now I have to try to execute it in real time, right? I have to try to execute in real time. I am not deviating. All my accounts, my primary account, my Apex accounts will be on process trades, right? And basically I'm saying I'm leaving one contract out. Nope, doesn't work, Dan. So Dan, good question. Dan asks, hard to back test intuition. Would it not be better to trade a higher time frame or a bigger bar? No. Let me tell you why, Dan. So the way we figure out that buyers are trapped and sellers are trapped, all that information gets lost in the bigger bar. Okay, so let me be really clear. I'm glad these questions are coming up, right? This trade isn't for everybody. It is not. I bought an Apex account. I'm not even running it with real money, right? I'm running it with a $60 Apex account. Okay, so all I'm saying is if I get to an area, right, where I think the market should bounce, I'm leaving one contract on. That's it. How about that? That's an easier suggestion. I'm leaving one contract if I think it should bounce, right? Stay with the main process. I'm glad I'm getting the pushback. And even Ronnie and I discussed this, and we said we should probably run this on a separate YouTube channel with Ronnie running it, right? And just going, this is what I'm doing. But here's what's going to happen. Let me tell you what the flip side is, Ian, and you're 100% correct, right? We're doing great. There's no need to change the process in the room. So if you'll watch the video, the first thing I said is this is for fun, right? This is not to change your trading strategy or anything else. We are approaching this as a game, okay? Use my money as a game. I don't care, right? I have plenty of Apex accounts funded, right? I have my own trading account. I'm not doing this in anything that's funded. I'm running it in a Apex account that's unfunded, that has no money in it, for fun, right? Does everyone understand that? For fun, okay? and I'm going to see what the outcome is. That's all. When I look at the majority of trades, like for example, when I was down here, right, I was pretty damn sure we were going up here, right? It would have taken me, so here was the problem at this low. My nearest on process entry was here. Okay, I would have gotten stopped the first time, entered the second time, and made money. Is how that would have worked. Our process works right now. So do not switch. So team members, right? I'm talking to you two guys. I'm going to run one Apex account like this. Uno, one, right? And everything else will be on our process. Nothing changes, right? So what I want, so let's go through and reiterate. Let me reshift everyone's mind before everyone freaks out, right? What's the trade entry? Where we're looking for a seller outside the fourth channel, right? Preferably at location, but it doesn't always turn up that way, right? Get above them, 16-point max stop, right? And you're looking for 1-to-1 to 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 RR. That's the process. Dan, that sound familiar? Does that sound good? Ian? Okay. That's what we're doing. Okay. I can already see from the pushback, I'm not getting much positive feedback from the room. So this will be, let's just call this the YouTube Las Vegas trade. Guys, stay on your process, right? The worst that's going to happen to me is I'm going to lose $70, $67, whatever it was. That's the worst thing that's going to happen to me on this trade, right? And I'm so glad that I'm getting this feedback right now, right here. I don't have any problem with it, right? Because it's telling me, whoa, I'm creating a ripple that I didn't want to create in the room, right? And Ian, I agree with the options as well, which is exactly what I did here. Was I bought options instead of futures over here, right? But Ian, this works in a very special place, and let me tell you where the vacuum that this works in. Okay, the vacuum that this works in is an apex and top step, where you can hit a few big trades and make a lot of money, right? And your RR. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you have 10 of these, and you can pull out $400 to $500 a day doing this. We don't know if we can. We're going to find out, right? And you have 20 of those accounts. That means your risk is $60 or $70 or $30 or whatever you're paying for that Apex account, right? And then you're getting a payout of $4,000 or $5,000. Your RR is very good in that situation, right? And I'm going to tell you, I stole this from some kid on YouTube. I'll tell you that right now. I stole it. And what he was doing, I watched him trading, and the kid has regularly taken out $40,000 withdrawals from Apex. I think 3 times. He's taken 40K 3 times. But here's the deal. He has no process. He has a 5-minute chart on his screen, and he guesses where the support and resistance is. Like, there's no process to it. So I'm just taking his process, right? I'm just taking his process and going, hey, what if I do the same thing he does, but I actually have a process. I know where sellers are coming in. I know, like, for example, when this thing is just going down, 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 he just guesses where it's going to turn. I'm not doing that, right? I actually have a process involved behind that. And so I thought it was kind of a cool idea. And quite frankly, right, quite frankly, some people in the room, there's not many, but some people in the room would look at this like me, and I said the market was down 300. And I said there's very little chance we're going down another 100 points, right? If you remember that day. And what I flipped to was buying the calls instead of using the futures. But what I should have done right over here when I went long is put one contract on, or right over here, put one contract on and said, go ahead, take my $2,000. Because I was in the catbird seat at that point. Why? Not because of anything I did, just the market has a hard time pushing more than 300. Make sense, guys? Does that frame it better for you, Ian? Better for you, Dan? Or anyone else? No. Okay, cool. So next, so now that we can do that, let's move on to the actual important stuff. Hold on. Let's fix this chart. 3 days. Make sure you reset when you roll your contract, your tick is going to change back to 0.25. Make sure you change it back to 0.50 for the footprint. Okay, next, you can see here's the overnight, right? We have been in balance all night long. This makes things really super easy. Let's go mark off the key areas on our chart. Why don't I have, here, let's do this real quick, F5. You go back to Friday to get the key areas. Days to load. 6. Okay, a couple of things that are important. The low, afternoon low for Friday was right there. Let's color it purple. Or, yeah, there we go. Right click, lock. Here's the open. This is prior day's low. And this was the high. Wait, was that into the close? Okay, low, high, afternoon low. There'll be a lot of focus on this 16,200 if we get back to it. Okay, and then this structure right in here to the left. And then you can see from the overnight, we've just been inside the range. The stops are up here and down here for our purposes. And then there's additional stops here. Make sure this is locked. Make sure this is locked. Here and here. We'll color them white. That's Globex high and low. So as far as the range goes, two things. We're one time into the upside. So I know in order to change that, I have to trade below 16,158. I want to trade outside of the overnight range, either high or low, because that's where the stops are sitting from overnight. And then Friday's high and Friday's low are the last areas. We're one time into the upside. Buyers are in overall control. And I want to try to catch stretches to the upside on process. So what are the best trades to take? The best ones in order of least important to most important. Double dots, single dots, and triple dots, right? And then in terms of location, where are they most important? Outside the fourth channel, touching the fourth channel, and then inside the fourth channel. The blue line being the fourth channel, right? Is what we're looking for. And then lastly, you're looking for clear targets above or below. Market just opened, by the way. Okay? Same process as last week. Nothing's changed except for one very small minor thing, which is I added a potential swing trade in there. I'm not doing anything different. I'm not just taking the trade because I feel like I need to take the trade. It'll be on special situations, or I'll go, we should push from here. This is where I'm going to put my money in. I'm either going to lose all of it, $2,000 or $1,000 on the trade, and I'll tell you when I'm doing it. It'll be labeled the Las Vegas trade because it is just that. It is guessing on the trade that you're right? Most of our process is very specific, tedious, and to the point, right? This one is just tedious on the entry only, right? And we will go from there. So they have not yet come up to Globex high or Globex low. Let's see what they do once they do that. And I've got nothing more to add. I did not look if there's any econ. It is important, okay, before I move off of this, know what your tilt signature is. Know what your tilt signature is, right? And catch it very, very early, right? So example, what I'm doing right now is I just wrote down, I didn't expect a negative response out of the trade. I thought I'd actually get a positive response from the team, and I'm not getting that. That's okay. But normally what happens to me after that, so today, lovely December 11th, we have no econ. It almost begs for balance. There's a 10-year note auction and a 3-year note auction. 3 years at 10:30, 10 years at 12. There's no Fed speakers. The odds of anything going on here significant would be very interesting. We have the Fed meeting and press conference on Wednesday afternoon, I suggest you skip it. I have far more people that blow up than make money on that day. I'm skipping it. I'll tell you that right now. I'm just not going to waste my time with it. Not even for remote interest. I'm just going to take Wednesday afternoon off. It'll be okay, right? And now let's just see where we go from there. And you can see no one's in a rush. Usually when it's slow like this out of the gate, this is not gap down, buyers are in control, it's normally just going to push out and attempt those highs again at some point, right? That's probably what's going to happen because who's motivated to sell? Like there was no negative news over the weekend. And how will I know that changes? We'll have an open drive lower or it'll be pounding to the downside. It won't respond like below 16,256 and it'll just fall straight down. I'll go, oh, we're probably not in balance anymore. But for right now, that's my assumption. Remember, sellers need speed, momentum, and motivated sellers. And they just have not had that at all. And this guy pushed down hard, and if you close behind him and get a pink bar like that, odds are they're going to push to that high. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Pink bar, launch. It went so fast I couldn't even consider taking it. So back on the process. If you have any questions about the Las Vegas trade, I'll be posting the results from it, and we will go from there. And up to test the high, which is no shock from anybody. It would have been nice if they gave us like a second to catch that. Here, I'm going to make these a bit smaller. Make that a bit bigger. I really feel bad for the shorts at this point. Like they got no relief. They just got destroyed. Kind of. Like normally you would have expected them to have some kind of, relief. They just don't get any. We can call it a Sin City trade. I'm good with that. And we pushed right up into the unfair pricing above prior day's high and rejected out of it. Now we're back into fair pricing. So again, none of that is surprising. It's just, it's Monday. Let's see what they do. Though that was a nasty surprise for somebody. Look at that. They just flipped around. Nobody participated in it. Nasty, nasty. Someone got smoked both ways on that. That's back to Globex high testing now. This thing's on vapor. Look at that. Just crazy. I bet someone just got totally wiped both ways. You know, they flipped short and they said, oh, it's a trap. It's against Star Wars. It's a trap. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Heads up. Super uber thin market. For those looking for the short, and I am not, I'll just let them break it down first. There's your line. You need a purple bar underneath that or a point of control underneath 16,342.50. Oh, the other thing on the Vegas trade, it's best done after the first hour. Just FYI. Going to take out the highs. Now, I'm all about the market going up, but damn. Hey, Tej, let's not discuss that in the room. I'll talk about it later, buddy. It's a function. The algo adjusts to the volume. It's rollover and it's Monday. That's a very complex conversation, and just will add massive confusion to the room for no reason. That's a super trap, by the way, over here. Again, I'm not shorting, so I'm just pointing it out. That's, again, buyers are in control above prior day's high. No apparent relief from sellers. They're just pushing, 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 and that's okay. It's Monday morning, right? Let everyone get all excited about whatever they want to be excited about. But like if I saw that super trap and I said, "Oh, that's exhaustion," and we were had any kind of sell pressure, like I would short that and sit on that and let it roll down. But we have no exhaustion, we have no pressure. It's all to the upside. So it's not a time for me to be shorting at all. I think we just stay very patient. This will be the third day in a row they try to pull off a trend type day. It's really rare. I was really hoping actually more for a down open than an up open. But at last, the market does not care about what I want. That was wicked on the open there, like that. I guarantee you someone got smoked long, smoked short. Like very few people would have gotten that sequence right. It's a really hard sequence. And even if you had it right on the short, look how fast it came against you. Again, like, oh, I got it. Oh, I don't got it. Yeah, the NASDAQ at 46 on the H contract, and ES basically flat. New high NQ. Relentless is what I would call that. And just the absolute obsession when you can't get any sellers for it's been a week, I think. And this is a non-participation lockout rally. Where's the targets up? All of this is unfair pricing all the way up to 16,420. As amazing as that sounds. That's open drive higher, so go to your 15-minute charts. Very simple formula. You'll know things change when you close. Once this 15-minute bar finishes, you close underneath here or you close underneath here. Otherwise, assume that has potential open drive higher. They're just relentless in the up. You let them be relentless in the up, right? You don't have to change anything about that. By the way, this is a 5-day simple moving average. Down here is what that is on an RTH basis. And we'll probably get a response down in that area. Again, I want to remind everyone, just stay cool. This isn't our market. If they want to keep driving it up, this is what happens is at extremes. We're just waiting for our opportunity. What we are on guard for is delayed open drive lower or switching the trend. And how do you measure that? Simply take your 50-60, the other way to tell. Here's the open. Keep measuring the 50-60 off the open. If we get behind the 60T retrace, you just need measures in place to help you figure it out, right? So this is roughly the low. This is the high. We'll just keep adjusting it. When we get behind 16,317 on the close, really you want a 5-minute bar to close back there or something like that. And you'll know the characters change. It also traps it back into the high. And then we start the cycle over again. If you keep pressing this, right, and go, oh, I insist it's short or I insist it's long, and you don't wait for your setup, life kind of sucks when that happens. So don't do it, right? Just let the thing develop as it needs to develop. we're in that 10-minute window where there's a lot of stops, right? Just keep that in mind. Everyone should be doing fine and not anxious. As a matter of fact, you should just look at this and go, well, I guess Monday's kind of messed up. Remember, all this week volume is split, or will be split as we're going through that rollover. It should end on Tuesday or Wednesday, but it is split. We're going to have to test that high again. Oh, look at ES. 62 to 59. That's it. It's all an NQ. And remember, so guys, we've had an open like this for 3 days in a row. Just remember, the first time they come off this high, the downside move can be hard. Okay, it's just on thin air. Like we went straight up on Friday afternoon. Find the 15-minute chart. When we go straight up like this, right? That's Friday. That's Thursday. Thursday and Friday. So Thursday shook out a little bit, but it was pre-market. But when we just rip straight up like this, it really creates a lot of tension where everyone's leaning on the wrong side of the boat. So if you ask me here, right, stops are here, here, and here. That's where the stops are sitting. Right? And this is what we have to trap back into to roll back lower. That's just not an opinion. That's just how it is. Right? Now I know why people play music in the background on YouTube when they're trading. It's like, okay, we're just going to be sitting here for a while. again, what's most on my mind this morning is not letting anyone blow up, right? I'm going to say it again. Not letting anyone blow up is most on my mind this morning. Okay? Do not draw down on a freaking Monday, right? Just don't. Not worth it. It's awful work. An inverted supernova, both on ES and NQ, by the way, it is simply not worth it in any one way, shape, or form. Okay? It just isn't. Ha! Ian. And remember, because there's no news, they could also just let it sit here, right? And you'll notice I'm not taking a single trade. Again, it's like broken record. We're just not rolling down, but that's what you got to beat right there. New high in Q. You can also use this as your beat. You can see it's this would be the second time underneath there, like that. Look how little participation there are in the buy waves or the sell waves. Just paper thin. 1, 2, 3 to a top potentially there. Again, that's triggered short again on the most recent move. Not that it matters. I would do little to nothing till you see a decent test down. Guys, this does not serve a function of how we normally trade, right? Not to me, it doesn't. Maybe someone else it does. It just doesn't to me, right? It's just the volume is so thin on this, right? And that's okay. It's just not our market, right? It's not a market where I look at it and go, I'm going to kill it here, right? If anything, if I get too invested in getting frustrated, I'm just going to get frustrated that it won't pull down to give me a good entry, right? So this happens at the tops of markets. You just wait. That's it. Here's my journal. I left it somewhere here. Back to retest the highs. Day traders hell. New high. Nothing, I'm going to keep reiterating for my team. Nothing wrong with the market going straight up. Nothing. We just got to wait till he gives us our opportunity. That's all. They're trying. 2 pink outside is good. That's usually potential exhaustion. potential. And we still have room on the upside, according to the chart. See? We are testing. I'll load more days on this. Give it a minute to load. We're testing back to the 29th. All right, this whole area, remember, this area can get slipped through pretty easily. But right now, nothing. So I'll still wait. And look at this, how small the waves up and down are. And so you just relax. And somewhere in here, we'll get an opportunity. Or they'll keep driving it up and making for one fantastic rollover. Hard pressed down there. So, Tasia, the one thing you're noticing was with your earlier comment, the thin volume, there is no volume. That's why it's so easy to push around. Everyone's just kind of looking around going, and this is just first hour adjustments, I guess I would say. Another super trap. And you can see the trend line here for those who want a trend line. Let's see. There's the other side of that story. That's what has to go. It's really not a market that's even trading. It's just going straight up. So just keep that in mind. No one's really looking for price one way or the other. It's just pressure to the upside would be the best way to describe it. But this is not a market that's looking to auction anything. And if you go through your list, you'll see, oh, there's no counter rotation, there's no exploration, there's no checkup on the bottom side of the channel, and you should go, this is not, I'm saying this for my team members, right? Relax into it because this is not my market. This is exactly what you should be saying to yourself. The only way to make this work is if you constantly buy highs, and if you're that momentum trader, good for you. Enjoy that, right? Because you're not, once it falls apart, it's ugly. And this is, by the way, exactly where you don't want to execute the Las Vegas slash Sin City trade, because there's no rotation. There's no hope of you getting anywhere without getting a major break, right? You're going to go, I need this thing to break right here, right now. That's not the purpose of that trade, right? You want to see it moving. And market appears closed. They're going to suck every last long into this thing. And it's boring as hell. Guys, I won't be even pointing out a trade till I see a burst to the downside of, I don't know, 50 points. There's no rotation, there's no range, right? There's no way in hell I'd blow myself up in this, or even take small stops that I can't recover. So the market is essentially closed as far as I'm concerned. There's no rotation. There's no exploration of price. There's no intention to explore price, right? So why would I get involved in it? And what I want is a mean, vicious, kick someone's ass drawdown. I want that trend line to frickin' break. He had the biggest push there to the high. They couldn't do much with it. We'll see what they do after 9:30. But please, I'm asking my team members, do not put yourself in a hole trying to short this, okay, or go long this. This is not what we look for in our trading at all. The entire range is approximately, the entire rotation is approximately 30 points, a little bit less. Okay? We need 40 to 50 point ranges to put us on the map and get us paid. Okay? 40 to 50 up and down. ES, 7 point rotations at least. Good time to work out some boredom. Remember, you're gonna have the IB high stat coming up, which right now will be over here after 9:30. Make that blue, and IB low, which is that. And no trades in the first hour. That's a rarity for me. Right into that moving average, you would expect someone to come in and try to hold that. Mostly chunk retail traders. Oh, wait. Make sure you're set to Tasia. Here, I'll reset, reload, calculate. Still off by a lot? Oh, here, that's what it is. I loaded 6 days on there. There. Should be matching now. Yeah. My bad. Thank you. Sorry, I forgot to adjust. Remember, there's been no negotiation, so when they open these gates, they can just open them one way, and then you're like, oh. Right? And they are trying to break that trend line. And good for them for doing that. See if they come back. Here's IB high on ES. Here's IB low. You're going to have, again, this is a trade I will not take, even though it's at the fourth channel. I just don't trust the constant up. It's 3 days in a row, guys, so I'm not taking the long. It's not a trade where I would go, hey, that's my perfect location, right? At all. If anyone else has a different perspective, I'm totally open to it. Please hit me with it. But this is the part of trading where you don't bury yourself and getting frustrated. And this is going up on wisps of air, but it's all right. As long as you don't get sucked in. Obviously, the super trap worked there. Yes, trying to take out IB high. We go look at our 15-minute chart just to stay engaged. You'll see we still have not closed below our last up bar here. All right, push down, but we have not closed. This is our last up bar. We got to close below there on a 15-minute basis to even consider getting change in character. So, just patience as can be. You can't get any stopped out sellers because who wants to sell in this, right? Down here, who wants to panic? Everyone's looking to buy those dips very aggressively, meaning no rotation. And Q up 71. Coming up to test the IB high. This is now what you have to get below. Point of control wise, for those who are looking to short, I'm not among them. And trend line's still intact. You really need an impulse move below that trend line just from a conceptual standpoint. Got a point of control below there. Again, people are going to be pushing for that IB high. And make the IB high. Target's really back to test the 16,328 for those shorts who are looking for it. The fact that it can't do it is pretty jaw-dropping, or it speaks to the lack of sellers. Either way you want to look at it. Well, at least it's not stressful. Right? You can't be stressful when there's nothing to do. It is Monday after all. Okay, guys on YouTube, I'm just going to kill it because there's nothing to talk for here. It's just not moving. So looking for a break out of balance, and guys, we'll just set them up later today if we have them. If not, we kept our money nice and fresh and ready for another day. I appreciate y'all joining us this morning. I'll talk to y'all later. No trades.